only I knew how to sing.
Okay, there we go.
Here we go. All right, so I'm going to ask each of the candidates to introduce themselves and give you a 2-minute opening statement. And we're going to begin alphabetically with Judson Klein.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. My slogan has been experience matters. What is it? What is my experience? Why does it matter? And what does it mean for the future of Orange Village? In pursuing the office of mayor to continue the growth and progress of longstanding Mayor Kathy Mulcahy, my leadership experience and accomplishments are clear through my professional career as an architect, a professor, and a civil servant. The mayor has 3 roles as I see it. The first is a manager, addressing the day-to-day activities of our community's wonderful administration and departments. My knowledge of the village's work through direct interaction with the various departments, my professional experience in building and leading an architectural practice for 37 years, and my proven leadership in a variety of different civic and professional organizations have provided me an extensive experience that will be invaluable to the community and in organizational management. Secondarily, as a visionary and leader, focusing the community on aspirations and providing leadership for the village. Over 50 years of my profession, that's what I've done. I've helped people find opportunities and then build plans to be able to achieve them. I've demonstrated vision through the Pinecrest development, the Chagrin Boulevard Traffic Management Strategic Initiative, and the Orange Goes Green certification program. Opportunities and creating opportunities for grants, saving taxpayer money, and guiding development sustainably to preserve green space and the integrity of the village. And finally, as liaison, connecting to the community and representing the village, addressing those pursuing business or producing projects in it. I've cultivated extensive relationships with community members outside of our area through the Ohio District 12, and my time is up. This is my experience, and it matters.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Amanda Kurland, and I want to be your next mayor. I am the president of Orange Village Council. I am a business owner. I am a mother of 3, and 2 of which are currently in Orange Village High School. I'm a dog mom, and I'm a longtime resident. I love living in Orange Village and raising my family here. While running for mayor, I've made a point of knocking on every door in an attempt to speak to every resident in Orange Village. The endeavor has helped me to develop our shared vision of the future of our community. I have learned what you, our residents, love about Orange Village, what concerns you have about Orange Village, and what you're looking for in the future. As your mayor, my priorities will be to preserve the residential character of our village, to support our safety forces, and to take care of our seniors. I will ensure that all development is balanced with green space. I want to keep as much of our natural canopy as possible. As our village grows, it's imperative that our safety forces grow with it. I will make sure that our police and firefighter EMTs are adequately staffed, trained, and have up-to-date equipment and facilities. I will watch our significant senior population watch out for them by providing robust programming and services. I have over 30 years of managerial experience, from fast food management to scheduling the entire editorial staff of MSNBC to my current role as co-owner and office manager at Corky and Lenny's. My experience serving public makes me well suited to be responsive to both the individual and community needs of our village. I am an experienced negotiator working with contractors and landlords to create mutually beneficial contracts. Equally as important, and maybe more important, I am experienced in creating and following a budget, and I am currently the only mayoral candidate who is a member of the Finance Committee. I am the leader that works for you, and I have the real-world experience that the village needs. Thank you.
Both as we get started, please remember that the questions that I am going to ask you have come directly from the people in the community. And so I hope that you will be specific in your answers. The questions some of them ask something they're looking for a real particular reply from each of you about that topic. And the first one is to define the word mayor. Not tell me what you're going to do as a mayor, but define the word. What does that mean? Yeah, we'll start with you, Amanda. Go ahead.
No problem. I feel like I should have looked it up. No, to me, mayor means CEO of the village. It's what it is. We are not concerned, I mean, we always are on a personal level concerned with what's happening in the greater world, but as far as running the village, it's about the day-to-day activity of managing people, of managing the budget, of being responsive to our customers, which in this case are the residents. That is what the job of mayor is being the one who takes care of the village. The buck stops here, and I'm happy to have the buck stop right here. Thank you.
Good.
I love anagrams. So I'm going to spell out mayor for you. The M stands for manager, manage the community. I talked about that. The A stands for accessible and accountable to the community. The Y stands for you, that's who I represent. The O stands for the organization of this community and Orange and how we run it. And the R stands for being responsible.
Okay.
Question.
Okay. Next question is, what is your experience working with a large group of diverse people? And the comment came with the words diverse, meaning not only in the community of residents, but in fact the council members, the residents, of course, and the staff in this building, both police, fire, and administrative staff.
Am I?
And we're going to start with Mr. Klein.
Working with a large group of diverse people is something that I do on a regular basis as an architect. We have to bring people together to convene people for an idea and develop a strategy and a plan to achieve whatever is the goal for that particular project and program. It's understanding and being willing to listen more than you talk, so that you have a grasp of what people are really concerned about and can address their issues in the answers that you provide.
Erlen.
Well, if we're talking about diverse within the village, because that's what it sounded like you're saying, then, you know, absolutely, I think it is about listening more than you're talking and being open to what the people who work for the village or live in the village want to say. I want to hear their stories and know what's going on with them so that I can be the most responsive, and no matter what their background. But as far as diversity in general, it's because that's what the beginning of the question sounded like to me. I work at Corky and Lenny's, where we have every customer you can imagine, from young to old, with different concerns and different things, and I've heard it all. And I think that I do a good job communicating with people, and if they have a concern, answering that concern and making them feel like they've been heard and like I've done something to help them on some level.
Okay, thank you both. The next question or two is going to be much more significant in terms of its specificity. The question is, what is being done to address the speeding on Harvard Road, especially during rush hour? And what do you think can be done to fix that issue? And we'll start with Amanda.
I think that it definitely is an issue, and I've witnessed it myself. I know one thing we can do is put up more of those your speed signs. There's statistical proof that those do slow people down a bit. I hesitate to start turning Harvard Road into a speed trap, but we might have to do it occasionally just to get the word out, and then hopefully people will understand that there are families and children who live on Harvard, and it's really important for everybody's safety to not speed too much. That's my basic answer. Thank you.
Good.
Speeding is not just a physical problem, it's a planning problem. It's one that can be addressed through other means other than having radar traps and other kinds of outside sources. using what are called traffic calming techniques that can be introduced into the street to reduce speed and cause people to be more conscious of how fast they're going is an appropriate way to do this. I've done this in other communities across the country in various projects that we've undertaken in building developments so that communities can be safe on their streets.
Thank you. What are your thoughts on the Beechwood Inn and what can be done for this community eyesore? Judd, we'll start with you.
We can't wait for it to come down. And that will be happening, I think, momentarily. That site has been acquired by the developer that's going to be building the Pinecrest residential piece. It will create the entryway into the Pinecrest residential. There will be a remaining parcel of land available there for future development, and that will be undertaken by that developer as it is determined by them what to do with it.
Amanda.
I would agree that it has to come down sooner than later. I'm actually disappointed that we weren't able to get it raised sooner because I think that it's a significant hazard as far as having people hang out there for nefarious reasons. It's quite a problem. It is supposed to be taken down and to be an entrance into what is supposed to become Pinecrest residential. I am a little uncomfortable that I know that the developer recently asked if it would be appropriate to put a hotel in that area. By zoning, he could, but I would really hope that we don't have more hotels on Orange Place, as that is where our biggest safety concerns are.
Thank you. The next question has several parts to it. What are the top 3 things that you think Orange Village needs now? And how will you help facilitate each of those things taking place? Amanda, we'll start with you.
I alluded to them already. The top 3 things are, I want to make sure that we are doing our best to not overdevelop Orange Village. Like I said, I really want to keep as much of the natural canopy as possible. It doesn't mean I'm completely anti-development, I'm not, but I just want to make sure that our development is measured, has green space, and is not too densely populated. The other thing is, of course, taking care of the safety forces, that we are already in a position that we need to expand our building and expand the forces to take care of who we have now. And so as we're growing, we need even more attention paid to the police and firefighters, EMTs, to make sure that we can all remain safe. And of course, the third thing is our seniors. I've spoken to a lot of people in the village, and it's just, they want, first of all, they do want community, and they do want a place to use their silver sneakers, a number of them. And I think that, as Mrs. Olner actually had mentioned, I have been talking about the possibility of building a community center. It would not be just Orange, we're too small for that, but it can be a community project that involves the greater community that is involved in the school district. And that's who we already are partnered with on Orange Rec and the Senior Center. So I think that it's a really doable thing. It's just going to take a lot of work to create a real senior center we have a senior center, but I'm saying a real community center that we can use for a number of things. Thank you.
Judd?
Thank you. In no particular order, I think the first thing that we need to think, or one of the things that we need to think about, is what our role as a community may be in affecting climate change. Having a sustainable strategy for our community that we can all participate in and help contribute to reducing our carbon footprint, increasing our biodiversity, maintaining water quality, and the quality of life in Orange Village. Secondarily is an economic development strategy that looks at the existing retail and office buildings that we have to become an proactive partner in delivering new businesses where we need them, to work with our existing businesses that we want to maintain and make sure that they're healthy and doing well, and look for the new businesses that we want to come to the village and replace some of those that may not want to stay. That's happening a little bit on the older part of Orange Place. We need to look at what Orange Place is altogether and take a new planning look at it as to how that might affect the future. Finally, it's looking at this facility here and looking at what our needs are for the future for our police and fire departments. They have toiled in this building for over 25 years. It was designed for a 25-year life expectancy. We need to go to 50. And we have a resident fire department that is totally unaccommodated, and we need to facilitate their needs, and we need to have training areas for our fire and police departments here, as well as adequate space for locker rooms and other facilities for them.
Thank you. If you and council do not agree on a vision for a particular issue, how do you pretend to resolve this disagreement? Judd, we'll start with you.
So the question is, if we disagree on how we're pursuing a particular issue, how might I
Resolve that disagreement.
okay, that I think that works really well into my wheelhouse, is things that I can do. Working with people is really important, and convincing them of ideas that they may want to pursue. As I mentioned in my opening statement, my job is to find opportunities for people and then create plans for them to go forward. Sometimes those plans have to be modified to make them work for all concerned, and that's a really important aspect of this. We have to understand what people's issues are and then work to resolve them as a collective and not just sort of push our way through.
So if I had an idea and council disagreed with that idea, it would make me re-examine the idea. It doesn't mean I would absolutely let go of the idea, depending on what it is, but I think that you have to be open to understanding people's reasoning for things. I think that as a general, my experience on council has been that we are reasonable people who think things through, and I think that there's an important thing to that. Coming up with big ideas is nice, but are they practical? And if your big idea isn't practical, then it shouldn't get further. So I want to say that, yeah, like I said, it's nice to have big ideas. You really have to think of the practical side of it. Who does it help? Who does it hurt? Who has to make it happen? So if you make a new law, then the police have to enforce that law. And does that make sense in the scheme of things? You really need to think through everything. So, I think a lot of times what we need to do is discuss things as opposed to legislate them. And so typically, I don't think that council is rushing to legislate things, and I hope that the next mayor, and hopefully that will be me, I'm definitely not someone who's rushing to legislate. Thank you.
Thank you. What issues do you see, especially in the near future, becoming an issue for Orange Village, and how do you plan to help council move those issues from talking points to action? And we'll start that with Amanda.
I'm sorry, what was the beginning?
What issues do you see coming in the near future to Orange?
Okay.
And how do you see yourself with council moving those issues from issues to action?
Right. So I think that we've really discussed the issues that are coming up. And so I don't mind beating this dead horse. I think that the most important thing, Orange is less than 4 square miles. It is really imperative that we don't build every little inch of it. Let's keep our residential character. Let's keep our village, the beautiful village that it is, the place that I love living, the place that most of you love living, and the reason why you're here tonight, because you care about the village. I really am anti-overdeveloping, and I worry about it. And also it causes issues with our safety, right? We already are in a position where we need more police and more firefighter EMTs. Again, I'm not against some of the development that's already on the books. I just want to make sure it's measured and that we don't add too much more to what's going on. Thank you.
Judd?
Well, I think I heard it quite a bit from the council people that were up here, and that had to do with safety and security. Safety and security falls into 4 buckets. The first bucket is safe in your own home, feeling comfortable that where you live, that you're going to be secure there and your possessions and your household will be safe. The second is being safe where we go, being in the places that we want to be and feeling safe and secure in those places. The third bucket is feeling secure in the value of our properties, which is directly related to those first two. And finally, the fourth is security in knowing that the village has the resources that will follow those to completion. Another issue that I think is important that has never really been addressed, I presented it when I was appointed to council 10.5 years ago, and it's called backland development. I don't think people think about it because nobody really pays much attention to it. We have lots of properties that are fairly deep, over 1,000 feet deep, and it would be easy for a developer to come in and purchase one of those strips and then go about acquiring the backland of other adjacent properties and creating a potential development. The trick is to get in front of the train, not behind it. We need to think about ahead of time how we might create regulation for that kind of development that could potentially come and affect the village. It would then also affect our green space, which is important. Thank you.
Next question is, do you ever envision the Village of Orange becoming a city?
So we're not that far off. You just need, oh, I'm sorry, was I out of order? Okay, sorry.
You got it.
Okay, 5,000 is the number of residents that makes you a village when you hit there. What? Over 5,000, what? Is she correcting me?
I don't know. It's your turn, so you just get to.
Oh, it's over 5,000, and we are under 3,500 currently. It is possible that with the upcoming development that we will tip the scale. It shouldn't affect us too much, other than our name would be weird. We would be the city of Orange Village. But the other things that it would affect, it doesn't, normally it makes like a 7 member council. We already have a 7-member council. The other thing that it would affect is Chagrin Road is, we'd have to be responsible for it. Right now, the state is responsible for maintaining it because we're a village. So for the most part, it wouldn't change that much, but I am not for densely populated developments, and I'm really hoping that we can keep our little village a village. But ultimately, if it tips the scale a little bit, we'll be okay.
Amanda's correct in terms of the numbers. We're slightly below 3,500. I've done some of the back of the napkin math relative to the new projects that are underway, including Lakes of Orange Phase 7, the potential for Pinecrest residential, and the possibility of the Weintraub property development, what those might look like. With the additional population that would be added through those developments, we would still be shy of the 5,000 residents that we would need to have to become a city. The issues relative to becoming a city and what that means, we already have a bargaining unit that we work with our safety forces. It would have to extend to the other departments. We have some other road responsibilities that would come to us, but by and large, it would not affect too many of the things that we already undertake as a community and manage quite well. So being a city should not be something we're afraid to be. It just changes who we are and what the name is on that sign that comes into the village.
You get the next question to start, and that is, what do you envision for the land development behind the Drury Hotel?
Okay, that's Orange Place South. That had been on moratorium for quite a few years in non-development. It is intended to be office buildings. It's intended to be, when it was originally zoned and created as part of the Chagrin Highlands development, that was supposed to be and is still listed on the books as an office park. And we've had an occasion, some interest in looking at the potential for those being a corporate headquarters type facility that would be over there. The challenge with those sites, as well as the others in that area, is the intermingling of wetlands that are in there and how you would configure buildings to fit in. There's a lot of, I think there's no opportunity potentially right now because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of new office building on the way, but it could be a great location for a business that is looking for an identity because of its proximity to the highway. But right now, that's the plan.
Amanda?
Hi. Yeah, well, I honestly would hope that that land doesn't get developed because of the wetlands there and there's so many other things going in. Right next to it is the proposed Vitalia V-Living experience, which is going to have single-family homes in the back end there. So if it was office buildings, it would be against where those homes are proposed. And I know there's wetlands there, there's sewage issues there. It's not that it's not developable. I would just prefer that it wasn't, honestly. Thank you.
Okay, each of you has already given us a fairly detailed vision of your opportunities to see Orange in the next immediate year and for several years out. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask each of you to give us your last closing arguments about why you think you should be the next mayor. And we'll begin with Amanda.
Okay. I want you to know how much I love Orange Village, how much passion I have for it. I am in this for the right reason. I believe in public service. I believe in the village. I want to make sure that I am managing the village in a way that benefits us all. I want to use my real world experience, and I do have significant experience in managing businesses, and I want to make sure that we keep our residential character, that we take care of our safety forces, and that we take care of our seniors. As I've said, and I will continue to say, I want to make sure that we don't overdevelop. I worry when Judd says things like backland development, because I don't want any backland development. We don't need regulations for something that we shouldn't have. I want our economic strategy to be the building that we already have, the plans that we already have on the books, basically, and to manage what we have in the areas that we already have it. I am not looking to overdevelop Orange Village. I want this to be the bedroom community that it has always been and should continue to be. I want you to know that I bring dedication, I bring energy, and I do bring vision towards the future. And I want that to, by the way, that vision, this all should include talking to my neighbors on a regular basis, as we're doing now, but I want to open up a more formal way of having conversations where people will feel free to give their stories and be part of the conversation. And I think that that's something that I can really set up, where it would be about community discussions, where there used to be meet the mayor. I think it'll be a meet the community type thing, and I have some ideas about how to make that happen so that everybody continues to feel heard and feel involved. And I really look forward to being able to serve you further. Thank you.
Last chance, sir.
Thank you. Over my career in life, I've sought to be a benefit to others and lead efforts in building a better world. These are evidenced through the awards and recognitions I have received from professional and civic organizations. They go back to my boyhood when I became an Eagle Scout, later on becoming the Rotary District 6630 Governor's Award winner, and the ACE Mentor of the Year, the AIA Ohio Community Service Award winner, becoming a Fellow of the American Institute of Architects, and induction into the Beechwood High School Gallery of Success. Being a servant leader is in my DNA. It's what my life has always been about. And I want to end with a story that I think will suggest to you why I think I'm the right candidate for this job. During the summer of 2022, my daughter and I took a trip out west to visit all of the national parks. And along the way, we decided we'd stop and visit some of the Native American communities of which we knew very little about. I learned something there that was incredibly valuable to me, and I want to share that with you. In visiting the Standing Rock Reservation, which is the burial site of Sitting Bull, the great Sioux warrior chief, there was a billboard that struck me very interesting. And it was how the native peoples chose their leaders. And I found that to be extremely informative. Number one, they don't choose by voting. They don't choose by appointment. They don't choose by birth. They choose by servanthood. They choose by people who stand up for them and do the right thing, and then they follow them. Their leaders arose through service, and their actions were of benefit to the community. This is where my strength lies, and this is where I feel that I can lead the community into the future. I will be responsive and respectful of all of your concerns and issues. I hope to be your star, strategic, trusted advisor resource to lead you into the future that we all want. Thank you for your consideration, and vote on November 7th.
Thank you all for coming. Have a safe evening going home. Thank you for participating.